Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now live at 4 on this Tuesday afternoon. Nice sunny day. The grass is growing.
Yes, it is.
Usually this time of year is kind of brown and going dormant, but not this year.
No, it looks great outside. And by the way, a little later this hour, we're going to be talking plants and gardening with Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company. So if you have a question for Lisa, Mark and I will let you know when it's time to call in.
But first, here's what's making news on this Tuesday. A plane crashes into a Greene County cornfield this afternoon. Madeline O'Neill will have a live report.
We're hearing from classmates of the Verona High School student shot and killed Sunday night in Fitchburg.
And the alleged victims of Jeffrey Epstein's were in court today saying they're angry that his suicide will prevent them of justice.
Let's take a look outside today. A little breezy this afternoon.
Breezy.
Oh, is that a beautiful shot?
This must have been early this morning.
That looks like a weather calendar picture.
The weather words, a little windy tomorrow. If it wasn't windy enough for you today, that is a great shot.
Yeah, my dad always says the moon looks like it's smiling when it's like that, doesn't it?
Sure does. Yeah. Smiling down on us, as is Dana Fulton, who's in the backyard weather patio.
Yeah, so a little breezy outside today, but tomorrow do plan on the wind speeds picking up just a little bit. So we'll call it windy for Wednesday. Now, our visible cloud track thankfully showing not a lot of cloud coverage coming on in, most of it well up to the north. A lot of sunshine today. We also have some shower chances, some wraparound moisture to the north. A few isolated showers around Viroqua and towards La Crosse, but not expecting much rain to slide through at all for this evening through southern Wisconsin. We're at 75 in Madison right now, about 79 in Janesville. It's delightfully comfortable outside and sunny, just again a little breezy. Compared to this time yesterday, our temps are a bit warmer. A few degree jump for us, and our dew points, though, a little lower, closer to 50. Throughout the area, so it is in a great spot for right now. Now, temperatures overnight will drop quite a bit more just because we will have that mostly clear sky. This evening will fall through the 70s and 60s, and then overnight lows landing in the middle 50s by early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, a little windy, and then we'll start to look at some spotty shower chances before we wrap up the week. We'll take a closer look at what's out with your forecast in just a few minutes. As far as the roads right now, here's a quick look at 90 at 151. Right now, both sides seem to be rolling along just fine. No accidents to report. If you're looking at the Beltline, of course, those speeds reduced closer to John Nolan. Down around Janesville, no delays downtown. Same goes towards Fort Atkinson. Now, if you are traveling along 14, heading through Cross Plains to get to Prairie du Sacre-Sauk City, there are some closures along 14 in downtown Cross Plains, so it may take you a little longer than usual. There's some routes, some detour routes around downtown, though. And again, right now around Lake Wisconsin, things do look okay. To get from Janesville to the Beltline, it'll take you 27 minutes, 16 minutes to get to Sauk City to downtown. And from Sun Prairie to downtown, a 16-minute drive this evening as well. And it is a beautiful evening. If you're able to get outside and enjoy it, I certainly recommend doing so.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes, Jenna. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. First at 4, a pilot and a passenger are injured this afternoon after a small plane crashed in a cornfield in Greene County.
Madeline O'Neill is live between Monroe and Albany on County Highway FF with why the sheriff says things could have been much worse. Maddie.
Mark and Susan, this is the cornfield where the small plane crashed just before 12:30 this afternoon. Now, this is about as close as we're able to get, but the wreckage of the 4-seater plane is about 50 yards down that way near the orange cone and the yellow tape. Now, according to the Greene County Sheriff's Office, a man and a woman were flying from Rochester, Minnesota, when the pilot noticed mechanical problems. Now, because of those issues, the sheriff says the pilot's plan was to then land in the nearby Monroe Municipal Airport, but instead crashed into Steve Kubley's field. Kubley says he didn't hear or see the crash, but went to see what was going on. He says he saw the pilot and was able to walk away. The sheriff says the two in the plane have non-life-threatening injuries, something Kubley is grateful for.
Well, I'm much happier that everybody's okay. He was very apologetic about landing in my field, and I said, well, that's the least of, our worries at this point.
The sheriff says he's not sure of the plane's original destination, but online flight path data shows a flight from Rochester was headed to Chicago Midway and landed near the Monroe Airport. The investigation is now in the Federal Aviation Administration's hands. The sheriff says he's happy things weren't worse with this crash, especially considering about a year ago there was another plane crash within about 5 miles of here where 4 people died. We'll hear more from the sheriff at 5.
Yeah, very thankful no one was hurt. Madeline O'Neill reporting live. Maddie, thank you.
Verona high school students are spending the first week back at school honoring their friend who was shot to death over the weekend.
Fitchburg police are not answering our questions about who shot 17-year-old Shay Watson or why they believe he was killed. Rose Schmidt is live from the crime scene on Lyman Lane, which is still active nearly 2 days later. Rose?
Mark and Susan, we've seen investigators going through belongings inside the garage at the home where Watson died. But the Fitchburg police chief today tells me he does not have any new information to share. The Dane County Medical Examiner's Office says Watson was shot to death on Sunday evening. Fitchburg police say they have not made any arrests, but won't tell us whether they have any leads or suspects. Watson's friends, meanwhile, say they can't believe he's gone, but plan to spend their senior year at Verona celebrating his life. They want people to know how funny he was, how much he made them laugh, and how he made each of them feel special.
I still have text messages from when I was going through personal things, and it's scroll after scroll after scroll of him just saying, you need to, you're better than this, keep your head up.
And it's hard, seeing all of us like this, it just shows that we have to be there more for each other, I guess.
Watson's friends are in counseling this week at school and made beaded bracelets that say Shay on them with blue beads because that was his favorite color. One of his friends tells us he's never taking that bracelet off. And Verona Area High School also had a moment of silence today to honor Watson. They sent a letter home to families today asking them to keep Watson's family and friends in their thoughts, hearts, and prayers. They say details have not been made yet for the funeral, but they will let families know when those details arrive. Back to you.
Rose Schmidt live in Fitchburg. Rose, thank you.
An investigation is underway in Richland County after a 63-year-old woman died in a house fire. The Richland County Sheriff's Office says they were called to County Highway U in Sylvan Township around 10 o'clock Saturday night. When they arrived, the two-story house was in flames. Deputies determined an explosion had occurred, and they found Bonnie Strotham dead at the scene. 68-year-old Alan Strothman was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Fire crews were on the scene for about 5 hours.
Around the state today, the leader of Wisconsin's Economic Development Corporation says he'll be stepping down next week. Mark Hogan's last day on the job will be September 3rd. Hogan was appointed by former Governor Scott Walker. WISC has seen a lot of criticism for not tracking job creation at companies using state subsidies. However, improvements have been made since Hogan took the job.
A group of bipartisan Wisconsin lawmakers want to set a minimum age to buy vaping products. Republican State Senator Howard Markline has introduced a bill prohibiting the sale of vaping products to anyone under the age of 21. The age to buy tobacco products like chewing tobacco and traditional cigarettes would also raise from 18 to 21. The health effects of vaping have been under the spotlight lately as 50 people in at least 6 states have been stricken with breathing illnesses linked to e-cigarettes or vaping. 2
children were killed in a crash in Dayton, Ohio after a man stole a police vehicle and slammed into several other cars. Cell phone video captured the confrontation between a police officer and a man wanted for a stabbing last night. The suspect jumped into the driver's seat of a police SUV and drove backwards up a busy street. During the high-speed chase, the driver slammed into several cars, including a van that was packed with children inside.
Heard someone scream, "Kids are in the car," and jumped out to do my best to try to get as many of the kids out of the van as I could.
At least 10 people were taken to the hospital, some in critical condition. The suspect was arrested and charges are pending.
There is fresh optimism that the U.S. and China may be able to resolve their trade dispute following President Trump's trip to the G7 Economic Summit in France. Next week, the U.S. raises tariffs from 10 to 15% on more than $300 billion worth of Chinese-made goods. During the G7 summit, he also announced a trade deal with Japan. Some U.S. farmers are cautiously optimistic because the details of the agreement with Japan still need to be worked out. The next round of negotiations is planned for September.
Brazil's president says he needs an apology from the president of France if he's willing to accept an offer of aid from the G7 nations to fight forest fires in the Amazon. Brazil's president says President Macron of France called him a liar and questioned Brazil's sovereignty. The G7 had pledged $20 million to protect the rainforest from flooding. flames. It's estimated in the Amazon more than 3,500 square miles of forest, an area roughly the size of Yellowstone National Park, have fallen to fires. Many of the fires are believed to be set by farmers who are trying to clear land. Outside Brazilian embassies around the world, protesters have been blasting the country's president and his administration for its handling of the deforestation and the fires.
Alleged victims of Jeffrey Epstein had a chance to speak in court today, angry that the late financier's suicide has robbed them of justice. Their dramatic statements come as the judge moves to dismiss Epstein's sex trafficking case. Tom Hansen reports from the courthouse in New York City.
Women who claim Jeffrey Epstein sexually abused them spoke outside a Manhattan courthouse after a judge gave them the unusual opportunity to be heard in court.
Today is a day of power and strength.
I wanted to thank the judge for letting us speak, having some closure. It's still going to be a rough road, but I also wanted to thank all the survivors that had reached out to me as well.
One accuser, Courtney Wild, who says the financier sexually abused her when she was 14, called him a coward and said in court she feels very angry and sad that he killed himself before going to trial on sex trafficking charges. A coroner ruled Epstein's death in his jail cell earlier this month a suicide by hanging. But at Tuesday's hearing, one of Epstein's lawyers challenged that, saying an expert hired by the family said injuries to his neck were more consistent with homicide than suicide. The judge said he included Epstein's accusers in Tuesday's hearing to dismiss the charges because of their relevant experiences.
It was both empowering and infuriating to know that the person who I needed to hear those words is not here to hear them.
The wealthy financier had pleaded not guilty to the charges. He signed a will just 2 days before his death, putting more than $500 million in assets into a trust fund. The will is expected to make it more difficult for the accusers to collect damages. Tom Hansen, CBS News, New York.
And the Justice Department is looking into the circumstances surrounding Epstein's suicide while in official custody. Attorney General William Barr has also vowed to continue the sex trafficking investigation against anyone who may have helped Epstein.
We have some breaking news from the Channel 3000 Alert Center. Firefighters are at a huge church fire in West Philadelphia. It is the Greater Bible Way Temple. It's not clear how the fire started. The fire is in the Parkside district in Philadelphia. Actress Lori Loughlin returned to court this afternoon addressing possible conflicts of interest that her attorneys are facing in the nation's college admissions scandal. This was Loughlin's first time in court since pleading not guilty to mail fraud and money laundering in April. Her legal team is working on 2 other college admissions cases and also represents the University of Southern California, which has raised the possibility of litigation with the couple.
Well, still to come at 4, in the Mississippi Delta, the Catholic Church settled sex abuse cases on the cheap.
The Associated Press uncovered this story, and we'll have it for you when Live at 4 continues.
Welcome back. The TSA is making some changes to the program that allows pilots and flight attendants to bypass security.
They decided to make it tougher for flight crews to get through security. Moving forward, pilots and flight attendants will have to wear uniforms, and the TSA will likely step up random security measures to screen pilots and flight attendants even more. Right now, the TSA is in the middle of an audit looking into possible vulnerabilities. They say nothing specific happened to cause the change, only that there has been, quote, renewed focus on insider threats.
Stocks closed lower today in a back-and-forth session. The Dow Industrials lost 120 points, ending the day at 25,777. The NASDAQ Composite Index fell 26. The S&P 500 was off 9.
The Wisconsin-based Franciscan Friars have settled a clergy sex abuse claim made by 2 men in Mississippi.
The Catholic religious order settled the case by paying the 2 black men far less than the church has paid in other sex abuse cases. Now the men are speaking out.
In Greenwood, Mississippi, poverty is everywhere. The ramshackle buildings and faded signs of this community are the only backdrop Joshua Love has ever known.
I can't accomplish nothing here. It's like every time I come here, it's like I'm sitting on a rock.
So when a $15,000 payment was put in front of both Joshua Love and his cousin LaJarvis Love, it was hard to turn down.
Well, they probably feel like we ain't never had that type of money before.
$15,000 may seem like a lot, but not when you hear what it was for. The settlement came from the Franciscan Friars, 2 decades after Joshua and LaJarvis Love say they were sexually abused repeatedly by a Franciscan brother named Paul West.
They knew we was poor.
Most settlements between the church and clergy sex abuse survivors are far higher. In 2006, for instance, the Catholic Diocese of Jackson, which includes Greenwood, settled 6 lawsuits involving 19 victims, 17 of them white, for $5.1 million, with an average payment of more than $250,000 per victim. Joshua and LaJarvis were just 9 and 10 years old when they say the abuse began. The cousins say West violently beat and raped them repeatedly on the campus of St. Francis School, where they were both students, and while traveling out of state on overnight trips. The Loves only recently reported the abuse claims to church officials.
He abused me. He molested me. He touched me. He groped me. These are things that he did.
Appleton, Wisconsin, West's hometown, was one of the places the men say they were taken as boys. Appleton is where West lives now.
Hi.
Hello.
Are you Paul West?
Yes.
While West confirmed his identity to the Associated Press, he wasn't interested in answering any more questions.
We were wondering if we could talk to you about some things that happened down at St. Francis School in Greenwood, Mississippi.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what I'm talking about? Didn't you work there for a while?
Joshua Love's younger brother, Raphael Love, was first to report the abuse in 1998. Shortly after, the Wisconsin-based province of the Franciscan Friars say West asked to be dismissed from his vows and left the order voluntarily. But West never faced charges. The Associated Press spoke with Franciscan Friar Provincial Minister Father James Gannon by phone.
The settlement did not seem especially generous.
It is not. I would agree with you 100%.
How did it happen then?
No amount of money would ever settle anything. I do believe that something happened to these 3 boys.
When asked if the Loves' race or poverty played a part in the settlement size, Gannon said absolutely not. While these men wish their settlement would have been fairer, what they're really searching for is justice. At least 4 law enforcement offices are currently investigating their claims against West. But in Mississippi, 2 men have to wait. LaJarvis Love lifts weights daily in a makeshift gym, and Joshua Love can sometimes be found sitting on his front porch in a beat-up desk he calls his thinking chair.
It makes me feel like I'm still happy because it's a school chair.
I guess there's that child inside me that still want to sit there and learn.
It is a rough
It's a difficult story.
Yeah, it really is difficult.
So they didn't share their settlement. They each got an individual
They each
amount.
got $15,000, but as we said, in other settlements, victims got $250,000.
Yeah, it's a difficult story.
Yeah, it is. And he's still living in Appleton. Well, there's more to come at 4, including a full look at your first alert forecast.
And then coming up tonight on News 3 Now at 5, engineers are meeting with residents in neighborhoods hit hardest by last year's flooding. That's coming up tonight at 5.
Take a look at this. A Louisiana teen is going viral for turning his brother's bus stop into a showstopper. Every day, Max Tingle steps off the school bus in front of his house, and every day his big brother is waiting for him in a different costume. Rain or shine, Noah is dressed everything from Santa Claus to Chewbacca in the rain, and now there's even a Facebook page dedicated to Noah's daily shenanigans.
The bus brother.
Noah says before he leaves for college, he wants to make sure that Max has lots of fun memories.
Oh, I love
That's
that.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's what being an older sibling is all about.
It'd be nice to have a big brother like that. That's fun.
He looks so excited, too, every day. It's
Yes,
like,
he
oh,
does.
you again.
Again.
There we go.
All right, well, nice day today.
Yeah, beautiful.
Really nice. A little breezy, but really, really pleasant outside. Now, tomorrow we're also going to be partly sunny. Temperatures will be pretty okay. It's just also going to be pretty windy for Wednesday. A little bit of a rain chance moves in for before the end of the week. We'll take a look at your full forecast right after the break. Right now it is partly sunny, but overall really pleasant outside. There are a few showers though up to the north. You see a little bit of lightning also, so some thunderstorms up to the northern edge of the state, and a few isolated showers stretching into parts or just north of Lone Rock right now, and outside of Roca and La Crosse we have some light rainfall. No lightning though. This is all wraparound moisture as that system continues to pull east. The rest of the area enjoying a really pleasant day. Again, some sunshine, a few clouds, but really nice outside. 75 currently in Madison with those dew points in the low 50s. It feels delightful outside. Our breeze is nice and light from the west, only at about 8 miles per hour. Remember though, for August, we should be seeing our afternoon highs around this time in the upper 70s. So we are a little below average. During August, this is when our temps start to fall back with our afternoon highs. We start the month off in the upper 80s. By the end of the month, we're in the mid to upper 70s for afternoon highs. We are just a little low for right now. Of course, nowhere near any record-breaking temperatures for the last several days. Now, this cold front is driving some stronger storms off to the east now, and again up to the northern edge of Wisconsin and into the UP. Now we have high pressure that's going to ridge on in once this wraparound moisture completely clears out to the east, and that's going to keep us pretty quiet for tomorrow. A little breezy for your Wednesday, though. The wind speeds should be picking up by Wednesday afternoon. There's the marginal risk for some stronger thunderstorms to the north today. Some isolated spots that are seeing some stronger wind gusts and real quick heavy downpours. Most of that rain is again clearing on out of here. So our shower chances stay to the north through the evening. By Wednesday morning, we have a few clouds or breeze coming from the west. In the afternoon, it's going to pick up a little bit, a little windy outside. Afternoon highs will be close to 70, so it will be a little cooler thanks to that wind, but also it will be partly sunny outside. So still pretty pleasant outside if you don't mind the wind, just maybe not a great day on the lake. By Thursday morning, breeze shifts, becomes a little more southerly. We get a quick warm up for Thursday. It's not going to bring a huge jump in our temperatures, and certainly it's not going to last for long, but our temps will be close to 80 for afternoon highs on Thursday. We'll have a brief chance for an afternoon shower or evening shower. Not a great chance, just a little one for Thursday. And then we cool back down heading into Friday and the weekend. As far as a closer look at this evening and tonight, again, we are expecting a really pleasant evening. By your Wednesday morning, temps will be in the mid to upper 50s for overnight lows, so a little cooler than where we were at this morning. But it should be a really nice start to the day, aside from how windy it's going to be. Afternoon highs in the low 70s. Heading into Thursday, again, you see that shift in our wind direction as a quick moving front slides on in. Overnight lows start off in the mid 50s, and then by the afternoon and evening, we do have the slight chance for a few isolated showers and thunderstorms. Not a great chance sliding through, but don't be surprised if you do feel a raindrop Thursday evening. Heading into, again, Friday, we get the sunshine back in the forecast. Because things are pretty clear outside right now, our temps are going to fall quite a bit overnight through the 70s and 60s this evening. Overnight lows landing in the 50s by early on Wednesday morning. About 56 for us in Madison. Mostly clear, a little cooler early in the day. Our wind speeds overnight about 8 to 15 miles per hour, but by tomorrow afternoon, we're looking at anywhere from 15 to 25 miles per hour, and that's for sustained wind speeds. So wind gusts could pick up a little closer to 30. It'll be a bit windy outside. A little cool also, as temperatures will be in the lower 70s. Partly sunny sky with cooler temps and that breeze. It'll be a little cool, like I said, if you're trying to get to the lake or the pool or standing in the shade for just a wee bit too long. Slight chance for an isolated shower or storm late on Thursday. Again, it will be a little warmer for us, but then we drop back down with our temperatures heading into the weekend. Chance for a shower at night on Friday, and on Saturday, our chance for rain is mainly going to be south of Madison, but not ruling out the chance to see a sprinkle for parts of Dane County. Most of the rain, though, is going to hug along the state line for Saturday. Sunday, we're nice and dry, and heading into Labor Day on Monday, we're also expecting a really nice dry day. Temps will be back into the mid 70s. And then looking ahead to next week, we do have another chance for rain marching in by Tuesday and Wednesday. But temperature wise, we're in a really comfortable spot heading into September for us.
And then no big heat wave for the start of school, which happens usually every year.
Usually it does. Yeah. We were kind of waiting for it. And no, we're really sitting in a great spot temperature wise this week. In fact, it might just be a little cool early in the mornings. I know I've seen some kids, the jacket's already out just to walk into school.
You know, you were always saying that the leaves sound a little different when it's almost fall. I think you're right.
Yeah, the wind sounds different.
It sounds different. Things start to dry out a little more. That's part of it, of course. So we were talking the ground's not dead right now. Our grass isn't dead, but the leaves are starting to dry up a little bit. There are times that we're
getting there.
Yes.
It's off in September. Dana, thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
A major reform in the aftermath of the college admissions scandal.
The College Board is announcing a plan to consider socioeconomic factors in college admissions to make sure that every student has a fair shot. The board is also increasing security measures to fight cheating on the ACT and SAT. Meg Oliver has more.
How many colleges are you applying to?
I'm applying to 10 colleges.
Simone Kyle is quick to admit applying to college is stressful. Over the weekend, she took her second stab at the SATs, hoping to boost her score.
How hard is it to trust the process after the cheating scandal?
It can be concerning because you're putting so much trust into this process. You're trusting that other side to consider everyone fairly and not be bribed.
Is the SAT system fair for everyone?
I think it's fair, and I think that it's fair, but it has limits.
David Coleman is CEO of the College Board. In wake of the college admissions scandal, he's announcing changes to prevent future violations, like where tests need to be taken.
We're not going to allow those environments outside of schools anymore. And if we ever do,
we'll have multiple checks on the identity of both the student and proctor.
So back in May on CBS This Morning, you announced the adversity score.
It's not an individual score for that student. It really is about the broad context they grew up in.
You're changing that to landscape. Why?
We made changes because we heard and thought we could do better. There no longer is a single number that tries to sum up your neighborhood and school.
Landscape looks at how the applicant's test score compares with other students in their high school and evaluates factors including local college attendance rates, median family income, and crime numbers.
I would say it's a start.
College counselor Gilbert Vivero says the changes can only do so much.
Won't be until we see some major shifts in admissions rates among students of color, low income, first generation. Can we say that, okay, progress is being made?
Some critics might worry that overeager parents will move into lower income neighborhoods to give their kids an advantage in the application process. But the College Board says you can't be admitted or denied based on landscape, only considered. Meg Oliver, CBS News, New York.
What a nightmare trying to get into college.
It has never been harder, honestly. And it was one of the most stressful things we went through in our family. It's so much more difficult than you think it is.
Probably more stressful for you than Matthew.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it all worked out, but wow.
Well, still to come at 4, families love to go to petting zoos.
But there is always a chance of getting germs from the animals. Sometimes little kids, you cringe a little bit. But Consumer Reports will show us how to avoid that when Live at 4 continues. A recent E. coli outbreak linked to animals at the San Diego County Fair highlights how outbreaks around animal exhibits at petting zoos and local fairs are a lot more common than you might think.
Every year, many people, including children, get sick after contact with animals. Leah Lynchide and Consumer Reports has some simple tips to keep your family safe the next time you visit with animals.
So you have to grab them from the bottom and scoop their bottom up and then lift them up, and then you could take the eggs.
Donovan Morales goes to Green Chimneys Farm School, working with animals as part of its nature-focused education curriculum.
Here, adults teach kids to appreciate animals, to respect animals. It allows the kids to transition from being taken care of to becoming caretakers.
And learning about animals includes lessons about cleanliness and safety, which is important not just for the animals, but also for anyone who interacts with them.
Nope, no eggs.
Because even animals that are healthy and well taken care of can carry germs that can make you sick.
Some of the most common harmful germs that people can get from animals at an exhibit are things like E. coli or Cryptosporidium or even salmonella. That's why it's really important to wash your hands.
The CDC says to wash your hands immediately after touching animals or anything in the area where they live. Even if you don't touch the animals, it's still important to wash your hands because the pens and areas around where animals live can also be contaminated.
Using soap and running water to wash your hands is always best. But if you can't do that, use a hand sanitizer. Just make sure that it's got at least 60% alcohol in it. And then use soap and running water afterwards as soon as you can.
To limit their exposure to the potentially harmful germs, don't eat or drink around animals, and make sure children keep their hands and fingers and other objects out of their mouths when they're around animals. Children should also not sit on the ground or play in the dirt.
The benefits of being outside, the benefits of working with animals so outweigh those risks. We teach the kids how to manage that. Wash your hands. Don't put your face in an animal's face. Be logical about it.
For News 3 Now, this is Leah Lynchide.
That is so fun.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Petting zoos are great. Well, you have a plant or garden question? Well, now's the time to get it answered.
Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is standing by, ready to take your call. There she is. The number is 270-9933. Lisa will take your calls when we come back.
Don't get her mad with that thing in her hand.
No accidents to report right now, of course, which is always good news for us. Here's a look at 39 and 90 right at 151. Both sides seem to be going along just fine on 39, 90 and 151. Looking at downtown on the Isthmus, we have the regular delays heading in on John Nolan and then, of course, heading out on University. Eastbound down to the Teens, heading into Fish Hatchery Road, picking up just a little bit the closer you get to John Nolan, and then speeds, of course, much better the further east and further west you go. Westbound side doesn't look too bad right now. In Janesville, we do have a few delays downtown, but it shouldn't take you any longer than usual for this time of day. If not used to driving home for this commute, I would add about 5 to 10 minutes on. And then, of course, 39, 90 look fine right now. Fort Atkinson looks okay as well. From Janesville to the Beltline, still 27 minutes. Sauk City to Middleton, 16 minutes. The drive from Sun Prairie to downtown, though, has gotten just a little longer, about 19 minutes this evening. That's a quick look at traffic.
All right, Dana, thank you. Watch this boat cut through a group of floating rocks the size of Manhattan. The gargantuan sheet of volcanic pumice rocks is slowly drifting toward Australia. It was spotted just days after an underwater volcano erupted. Pumice, which is filled with holes and cavities, floats like an iceberg does. Experts are hoping the sheet might make its way to the Great Barrier Reef. They say the organisms on board could help replenish some of the reef's lost marine life.
Boy, is that fascinating.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. A boat going through it, yeah. Well, we're taking your plant and garden questions today.
The number to call is 270-9933. We have 2 lines open tonight. Lisa Briggs is live at the Bruce Company. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hello. How are you guys today?
Great.
What is in your hand there?
This is called a garden weasel, and it's my new favorite tool because it looks super deadly, and I've got this right next to my mic. But you hear that pretty noise it makes?
Oh, yeah.
I know, it's sort of like a new Zen sort of garden tool. So you can meditate and hoe your rows of vegetables at the same time.
All right, there you have it. Lots of calls. Let's get right to it. We'll start with Chris in DeForest. Hi, Chris.
Hi, I have some butterfly weed and some milkweed, but we seem to have little orange aphids that have just been attacking them and taking over. I was looking to see if there's something we could do that won't harm them.
Well, the easiest thing you can do is take a hose and a good strong blast and try to wash them off. That would be the least invasive thing that you could do. You could also, if they're really bad, you could do some of the more organic insect killers like Captain Jack's or something like that, but a hose is your best bet. So just give them a good squirt.
You can't really use pesticides because it would affect the caterpillars and the butterflies, right?
Correct. So hose first.
Okay.
All right, let's go to Patty in Madison. Hi, Patty. What's your question?
Hi, Lisa. I think that the guy before me just answered my question, except I don't think these little things, these little brown yellow spots aren't moving. They're not, I don't think they're aphids. It's an infestation of something else, I think.
On your milkweed.
So are they up and down the stems?
They're up and down the stems, and they're also on the underside of the leaf. So I'm raised monarchs as well.
Those are definitely aphids.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah, because what they do is they're piercing, sucking insects. So they kind of find a spot and burrow in, and then they kind of sit there. And one of the easiest ways to tell is if there are leaves below where they are and you can see some sticky residue on the top surface of the leaves below them. That's called honeydew. And then a lot of times you'll see ants kind of hanging around because the ants are after the honeydew that the aphids have excreted.
Oh.
But just use a hose.
All right. Sounds like quite a party on the milkweed.
Yeah, they come in all sorts of super cool colors, too, so it's kind of fun.
All right, Denise in Beloit. Hi, Denise. What's your question?
I have a green maple in my backyard. It's a very large tree. And this year we have been losing our leaves all summer long. And I've noticed when the leaves come down, they have black spots on them about the size of a ladybug.
Okay, and it's on the surface of the leaf?
It's on the top of the leaf, yes.
That sounds like a fungus called tar spot. So it's kind of rough, it's really black, they're sort of irregularly shaped, and like you said, about the size of a ladybug or a little bit bigger. Tar spot is, it's just a fungus. If your tree's really big, it's probably not worth spraying. When you have big mature trees like that, and if you look at the tree overall, And if you say, oh, well, the whole thing is affected, or 40 or 60% is affected, then you want to call in somebody who's got the equipment to spray. But if it's just a little bit, don't worry about it. But what you do want to do is make sure you do a really good cleanup, get all that foliage out of there. Don't put it in your compost, but throw it away, because a lot of those funguses will overwinter. And then if we have the right conditions next year and they're kind of hanging around, it'll reinfect.
Okay.
All right, let's go to Bobby in Mount Horeb. Hi, Bobby. What's your question?
I have hibiscus plants, potted ones that I, winter over in the house and bring out in the springtime. And they're about 5 feet tall, and I cannot keep the squirrels away from them. The squirrels come and they rip the leaves off. They don't eat them. The other morning I had 100 leaves laying on the ground. They'll jump up on the plant. They'll rip the branches off. They'll strip the bark off the plant. So I've now wrapped the trunks with that, paper, that brown paper. I've tried that squirrel away spray. I've sprayed the trunks of the hibiscus. I've sprayed the tops of the pots. I've sprayed the ground all the way around where they're set out. And I've also tried cayenne pepper, and nothing keeps them away. And I'm wondering, is it like a narcotic to them, or what attracts them?
I don't think it's a narcotic. Hibiscus are really high in vitamin C, but I don't know that the squirrels are necessarily looking for that. If you've tried a number of repellent kind of products and they're not working, have you tried like Mylar tape on them or things like that? Or you could do like a scare thing. Matt's going to hand me a scare owl, because I'm not going to drop it. And so this kind of, if the squirrels are stupid enough, they'll think this is a real owl, and then they will kind of not hang around. You want to move it so that it's not in the same place all the time, so that they don't get used to where it is. But that might help. So try something like that, and then keep trying different repellents till you get one that's working for you.
Or you could use that garden weasel too. That would do it.
Or you could, you could shake the garden weasel at it, or shoot at them with a hose. That would work too.
All right, we are out of time. Thank you, everyone, for calling. Lisa, thank you for your time. We'll see you soon.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Lisa.
We'll be right back with a final check of your forecast. Enjoy the evening.
Yes, it's so nice outside right now. A little breezy, but not too bad at all. In fact, mostly sunny. As we look at our visible cloud track, there's a few clouds, mostly up to the north, though. As we plan ahead for the rest of your evening, temperatures should be in a really comfortable spot for us. Some showers to the north, a few isolated showers in Stock County and towards La Crosse, but again, nothing for us really for the rest of the area. 75 right now in Madison, 79 in Janesville, and those dew points are in the 50s, which means it feels nice.
Very nice. All right, we'll be right back.
In today's Final Touch, summer is almost over. What did you